The biggest superpower that we have is that we have a soul that already knows the way. And if our soul already knows the way, why are we looking to anyone or anything to guide us? We should never be handing off the pen of our lives. When we're not listening to our intuition, which is that inner guidance, that inner knowing, we are saying, like, you don't trust yourself. Your ego's voice is loud. And the soul's voice is really quiet, but it's certain. It doesn't have to be screaming and yelling. It's just like, I'm over here. Listen to me. I already know the way. But what I want you to do is come up with the solutions first. How many times have you asked 5 different people for their opinion on anything that's going on in your life before making a decision? You are crowdsourcing your life and it is killing your intuition. We live in a world that really teaches us how to look outside of ourselves for answers. We're looking to everyone, everything, our parents, friends, anyone that will listen. When in reality, all of those answers are actually already inside of you. Today, we're going to be talking about turning down the noise of the outside world and really turning up the volume of your intuition. I am your host, Tiffany Cohen. Welcome to the Spirit and Soul podcast. I'm excited to dive into this because at Spirit and Soul, we really go hard on teaching about intuition because intuition is what drives your life if you allow it to. Like, you have this inner compass, and we are taught actually not to step into it, not to listen to it, and not to rely on it because it's not physical. And so every time you ask someone else what you should do, you are telling your intuition that you don't trust it. You're really handing the pen of your life over to like everybody else. And it's this supporting character kind of asking them to like write the ending, right? Like it's like somebody else in your life and you're saying, here's the pen. Please tell me what I should do. And, that's it. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we handing that pen off? We should never be handing off the pen of our lives. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't like talk to people about things going on in your life. When we're not listening to our intuition, which is that inner guidance, that inner knowing, we are saying, like, you don't trust yourself. And the biggest superpower that we have is that we have a soul that already knows the way. And if our soul already knows the way, why are we looking to anyone or anything to guide us? If your soul knows the way to the highest timeline that is possible for you. And so, what I'm not saying is that you can't talk to people. I'm not saying like don't get a reading or like don't, have like do something like that that feels good, but use that as confirmation. Like find the solutions first, find the way first, and then you can kind of get your confirmation if that feels good for you. Really, what this comes down to is trusting yourself and trust. Especially if you have trust issues in your life, trust is going to be a big subconscious program that you kind of need to overcome. Why do we need trust in our intuition? Well, because of this. Our intuition is coming from within. And because nobody else can hear it, nobody else can see it, nobody else can experience it, even you can't experience it realistically with your physical senses. And because you can't experience your intuition with your physical senses, we are taught in society that things that you can't experience with your physical senses are less than, are not to be trusted. And we've been taught that a long time ago. And even, I mean, realistically, if we look back at witch trials and things like that have occurred in our history, we are taught that the unseen is actually not safe. In so doing, we have actually downgraded one of our biggest superpowers, which, oh, it makes me so sad and so mad when I really look at this. But there's nothing that we can do about the past. What we can do now is be very, very aware of who we are and how we operate in the world. So that being said, start to figure out where in your life that like you don't really have trust in your decisions, you don't have trust in you. And then also looking outside of you, Where have you decided that you couldn't trust someone else? Like, maybe you feel like you can't trust your parents with their word. Maybe you feel like you can't trust men. Maybe you feel like you can't trust other women. But when it comes to parents and like relationships in our lives, I think that it's really important to take the step back and see how we grew up because trust in parents actually shows up really interestingly. And it's things that we wouldn't think would actually play a role, but really do. I've had so many clients go backwards in soul coaching, go backwards in hypnosis to a point in their life where their parents told them that they were going to bring them somewhere like Disney or bring them to like a store or like an amusement park and then never do it. And so they started to develop a distrust in good things. And so they started to form this like, I get excited. So every time I get excited, I get disappointed. Right. And so this forms a distrust with the people in your life. So I want you to start to figure out for yourself where trust plays a role because when you receive an intuitive hit, we'll call it, or intuitive guidance, again, it can't be experienced with the physical senses. And so you have to have an awareness of what is coming in. You have to understand the difference between the ego's voice and the soul's voice and then trust what you're receiving and act on it. Like, feel into it and just have an inner knowing that that is the way to go. So, like, let's take something super simple as an example. Let's say you're driving in the car, and normally you go straight in your journey, but you have this like really weird feeling that like, and this like voice kind of inside saying, go right, go right. And you know that if you make a right, you can make it home. Maybe it's like a little bit of a longer way or just like a different way, not as direct. And so, like, you don't normally take that road, but like you have this inner nudge to make a right. And so you make a right, you get home, and then you find out that there was an accident going straight. Like, you listened to your intuition. You trusted to make that right, even though it was like off the beaten path, even though it was like outside of your normal habits, and it served you well. That right there is where the difference of trusting what you receive, even if it like moves you in a direction that feels not right at first. I want you to get to a place where when you receive it, you listen to it and trust it. And the way that you can start to do this is to number one, first start to understand your ego's voice and your soul's voice. And if you haven't read Untethered Soul, I'm highly suggesting that you read it. That completely made me understand how the mind works. And it was so powerful for me to understand that because what the way that the mind works is like this ego has this really loud mind, right? And it's that one that's going on and on and on and on. It's reminding you of all random things. And it's just like as you're sitting down watching TV, you're engaged in TV, but then you're thinking about, did I turn the stove off? And then you're thinking about how somebody on the TV looks like somebody that you know. And then you're thinking about that person that you know. And then you kind of go down that rabbit hole for a minute. And then you come back and you realize that you missed like 10 minutes of the show. You have no idea what's going on because you were so involved in the story that was playing in your mind. Like, that is the loud ego mind. That's like it's the ego is very distracting. And the ego is distracting for many different reasons. It is distracting because it wants to keep you safe. So it's like, don't, it's a lot of times it doesn't want you to go in certain directions. And so it's going to be like, no, 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 over here. It's going to point you in a different direction. Or it's going to want to um, kind of keep you outside of any thoughts you might be having about expanding, about doing something different, about doing something that like is outside of the comfort zone. And so that's going to be that ego. And then we have the soul. And the soul's voice is really quiet, but it's certain. The ego's voice oftentimes it feels certain, but there's like a little bit of an edge to it. It's almost like you have to be like the ego has to be loud because it's unsure. Like, doesn't know what it's talking about, so it just, like, talks loud. And then the soul, though, is quiet, but it's certain. It knows the way, and so it doesn't have to be screaming and yelling. It's just like, "I'm over here. Listen to me. I already know the way." And so when you receive information, when you receive that intuitive hit, when you receive guidance from the universe, it all comes in quiet. And that's why you have to catch it, because it is quiet and then it can get just swooped right up by your logical thinking mind. And when you actually tune into that still small voice that's within, it actually becomes the big voice. And you're like, oh, okay, like I can hear you now. And you listen. I love, love, love one of my mentors, Sonia Choquette. She tells this story about how she was looking for a house with her husband, and they found like the most perfect house, and they were looking for a long time. They could never find anything. And then they find this like beautiful, perfect home. And then they are like they get into, they're about to go into contract, and they're about to like take this house as theirs. And then that morning that they were going to sign the contract, she gets an intuitive hit to not do it. And so now she listens to everything that comes through her intuition. And so she said, I'm not signing the contract. And she tells her husband, I have a bad feeling, and I'm not doing it. And he's like, "You're crazy. We've been looking for months. We haven't been able to find the right house, blah, 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 blah." And like just trying to steer her in the other direction. She's like, I'm just not doing it. I have a bad feeling and I'm not doing it. She goes and they don't sign it. And about 4 months later, after the house was purchased, after they would have moved in, all of the pipes burst in the house, and the house was unlivable. Everything, all of the stuff was ruined for that family, and that was it, and it kinda proved her intuition right. Now it didn't show up until she was playing the long game on that, but she had to trust that whatever her intuition was showing her was correct. I often think about this a lot when, I'm, like, running late. I get, like, a weird, like, feeling inside to, like, "Don't get on the road right now," right? And it's like, "Oh, but I'm gonna be late," and I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm gonna, like, sit back for, like, 15 minutes and, like, do something else, or, like, just sit for a minute." And it's like, you think that you're maybe prioritizing yourself or being a little bit irresponsible, but I always wonder, what did that save me from? What did, like, me sitting back and not going in those 15 minutes save me from? And did it save me from an accident? Did it save me from somebody hitting me? Did it save me from traffic? Like, what did it do? And there have been many times where I left late, or left early and then found out that there was an accident like soon after. How many times has it happened to you? I'm sure a million, where you're like, oh my God, if I was only like, if left 5 minutes earlier, that could have been me. And maybe it would have been. And so when we listen to our intuition, we don't know. And we have to just be okay with not knowing what could have happened, but just listening and knowing and trusting in the universe, our guardian angels, our own intuition, that it's going to get us where we need to go safely if we listen, if we allow ourselves to listen in moments like that. And so that small, still voice, that quiet, quiet voice that's within, it should actually be that guiding factor in your life. So, the ways for me that I would say to start to develop your intuition is, number one, meditate. Okay. Meditation. I am a meditation pusher. You should be meditating every day. And I'm not going to feel bad for saying that, every stinking day. All right. Don't tell me that you don't have time. Don't, because you do. You spend a lot of time scrolling social media. You spend a lot of time maybe just sitting there. You spend a lot of time on the phone. You spend time doing things that distract you from you. So don't tell me that you don't have time. You have to make the time. You're never going to find it in your very busy life that I'm sure that you have. You're never going to find the time. You're not going to be like, oh, look at this. I just found 10 minutes. Look at me. Very rarely does that happen. So you're going to have to make the time. And if some days that time is only 5 minutes, let it just be 5 minutes. But if you can do 10, 15, 20, I mean, 30, you go, do it. Do it because you're going to feel so good. But what it's also going to teach you to do is teach you what that voice sounds like. And there's really only one way you can do that, and it's to sit in silence. You have to get to know that part of you. And if you only know your human self, you're missing the whole other half of you. You're missing the whole spiritual side of you, soulful side of you. You're missing the soul. You're missing the true part that's connected to spirit. And so you really need to sit and understand and know what that voice sounds like to you. And truly, meditation is one of the only ways that you can do that. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't get intuitive hits outside of meditation. That's not what I'm saying. But in order to get to know somebody, right? If you went out for coffee with somebody, you wouldn't just like, and you want to get to know them, you wouldn't sit down for 1 minute and get up and leave. You wouldn't, grab your coffee and go and take it to go if you wanted to get to know somebody, right? Like you would sit down with a person and you would listen to them and you would ask them questions and they would ask you questions, right? And so that's what you really need to start doing with your intuition. Get to know it. Get to know that voice. Get to know that soulful aspect of you if you haven't started to do that already. And maybe like you lean into manifestation a lot. Maybe you, like, lean in that way where it's like, "Oh, I'm just, like, leaning into this side of me." There's more to you than that. You are a natural manifester, you were born to do that, and so, yes, that is an innate part of yourself, and your intuition is very tied to manifestation, but if you're only getting to know the practice of manifestation, then, like, you're missing the whole point. The whole point is that you can manifest because you are the bridge between the spirit world, heaven, let's say, and earth. That's why you can manifest. And so if you're just like, oh, I'm just into like manifestation, then you're missing everything else. Or I'm just into visualization. Okay. You're missing the whole other side of it, right? To really make it effective. And so really leaning into that part of you is going to make a really, really big difference. The other thing that I love to do is once you get an intuitive hit, like learn tarot, learn oracle, like pull a card if it feels good for you. Like I love to get confirmation. Like give me confirmation. I love a good reading. I love to not only pull cards for myself, but to sit down at Spirit and Soul with one of the girls, with Frank, and get a reading so that I know that I have some guidance. And a lot of times, what's happening is that it's telling you what you already know, even if you don't want to hear it, right? Like when you get that reading, like, you know, that guy's not good for you. You know, stop trying to pretend when you sit down with Frank. Stop trying to pretend that you think that that relationship's good for you because deep down in your intuition is telling you that this guy is doing you dirty. And so you sit down with Frank and he's like, "This guy's doing you dirty," and you have the nerve to look shocked. You knew it already. What are you pretending not to know? Right? So it's telling you the things that you need to hear, and it is confirming for you what you already know. And I love me a good confirmation. Okay. Yes, trust your intuition, but like confirm it for me too, because I like that. Right. I don't need it all the time, but I like it. Who doesn't? That's the human side, and I'll take it. Remember, 100% human, 100% divine. I like it. But anything like tarot oracle is going to be great, and I don't want you using them as crutches, okay? What is beautiful is as you start to learn tarot and oracle, you will receive that guidance. You'll receive those intuitive hits. and you might receive them for other people, which is really fun. You're tapping into and enmeshing in their energy, which is like coming together with their energies. And yeah, like you can sit and like receive for other people and you can receive for yourself, and cards are really fun and great for that. But you don't need them, but they're fun. I love cards. Like I have so many card decks, probably too many for is there really ever too many? I take it back. I take it back because I end up using all of those card decks within a year. You better believe it. So, start to maybe have a tool in the beginning if that feels right for you. If like you still can't trust your intuition, you haven't figured out what it is. I want you to feel what you receive, and then use the cards as confirmation or see what you start to receive as you're reading for other people. The other thing, a huge tool to develop your intuition is take Erica from Spirit and Soul, take her intuition group. I'm sure she's going to be doing it very soon. And everybody that has ever taken that group is obsessed. They are obsessed with it. They are still obsessed with it. They still talk about it. It is a 6-month group that deepens your intuition. It develops your intuition in so many ways. And some of those people that have come out of that group have actually begun to work for Spirit and Soul, reading cards and things because they become unshakable in it, which is so beautiful. I will tell you that trusting my intuition in my life has really guided me to a really beautiful place where I am sure, right? Like that trust leads to surety in your life. That place to be in life is really profound. And it's profound because everything in life wants to shake you. It wants you to be in fear. It wants you to question yourself. And when you're not questioning yourself because you already know the way, because you listen to your intuition, because you tune in and you know yourself, you really can't be shaken. And so, like, you go through life so much more confidently, so much more like supported, like you feel supported. And who's supporting you? You, babe. You, your intuition, your soul's supporting you. And like that, there's really so much magic in knowing that you're supported. Because when we don't feel supported, we feel like we don't have like a foundation. We feel like we're on shaky ground. And that's really tough. And I've been there too. And I will tell you that knowing myself has been honestly, it's made my life so much easier because especially for me, where I'm doing really big things, I have to trust that the universe is speaking through me, that I'm exactly where I need to be right there, right now. So that when fear, because I am a human, does kick in, I remind myself that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't meant for me and that my intuition guided me here and I listened to it. And so I know I'm meant to be here. And so every time I go up on a stage and it's like, "Ooh, oh my god, I'm going up on the stage," and it's, like, exciting, and it's also you get that little bit of nerves, and then I remember why I'm there, and then it's so much easier because I was guided there and led there, so I'm supposed to be there. Someone is meant to hear this message today, if not multiple people, and so that makes it so much easier, and so life becomes a lot more easy when you are guided by the one thing in this world that actually knows the way for you, and that's your soul. And that's really amazing. So now, here's what I'm going to do. I want to give you a challenge. And the challenge I'm going to give you is actually it's going to be like a little bit more like modern and everyday, all right? I actually want you to not ask for advice for 24 hours. I don't want you to ask for anybody's opinion on anything for 24 hours. I want you to just be led by you. Don't say, "What do you think of this? Should I get this or that?" I just want you to do it. I want you to make decisions. And at first, you might be like, I don't know." And then it's going to feel so good. And you're going to trust yourself more. And here's what I'm going to say is this in the caveat. And I can't remember if I said this in the beginning or not, but I love to talk things through with people. So a lot of times when I will have to make a decision. I have to make a lot of decisions, okay, in my life, all right, in business and all the things. So I have to make a lot of decisions. And a lot of times I already know what the decision is. And that's not, sometimes I'm asking for permission, okay? Sometimes I am. But a lot of times what I'm doing is I am sitting down And because it's the Gemini in me, I need to hear like all sides. I don't know if I'm asking for advice or I'm just more like, "Hey, can I run something by you? This is what I'm thinking of doing." And I talk it through. And a lot of times the person will confirm back to me what I've said, and if they don't, I don't actually take it to heart. I listen and I feel how it is aligned with me. So a lot of times I'm not asking for advice because I need guidance. I'm looking to kind of hear all sides, and that's okay. But I don't want you to be persuaded if your intuition is telling you one thing because fear is easily persuaded. And so if you're looking for guidance for something that's like an expander in your life, you can be easily guided outside of fear. And a lot of times, if you're not sitting in the right circles with the right people, they are also going to have fears for you as well. And they're going to really mirror them back to you. I don't want you asking for advice, but what I want you to do is come up with the solutions first. Like, know the way first. And then if you want to be like, hey, can I just run something by you? And what you're not doing when you say running something by you, they're gonna give their opinion, but what you're not saying is, "What should I do?" I don't want you asking, "What should I do?" I just want you to hear the different sides and then see what resonates with you, and then use your discernment from there, okay? If that feels hard, just don't ask for advice at all, right? If it feels hard to then take some what somebody else says, now listen, 24 hours, I don't want you asking anybody anything. But after that, if that feels hard to do, like not take somebody's advice or like not be persuaded, then don't ask them. Continue the challenge. Don't ask and just allow yourself to be guided. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast. I hope that you start to learn to trust your intuition, do this challenge. It's going to be so much fun. I would love to hear what the challenge actually produces for you. So you can tag us at Spirit and Soul Studio. You can tag me at I'm Tiffany Cohen on Instagram. I would love, love, love to hear how this little challenge might have shaped you and changed you in some way. Maybe it had you listening a little bit more, and I love to hear from you. Also, I'm going to ask it, please leave a review. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Make sure that you're subscribing to hear every single episode and other things that we have coming out. But I really appreciate the reviews. I really appreciate the comments. They do so much for us and to spread our message far and wide of like really empowering the self. Okay, so thank you for joining me on this episode, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Spirit and Soul podcast.